These streams, these enchanting maidens of the Nile, look how they run. Fed by melt from pure white snow, the river swells and soaks the Egyptian fields in place of Zeus's downward pour. King Proteus ruled this country here, at least when he was living. He wed Samathe, one of the maids amid the sea swell, but only after she forsook Iacchus's bed. 2 children she bore in that home of his, Theoclemenus, her son, and noble Ado, her mother's delight when but a babe. But when Ado bloomed in youth and reached her marriage season, they called her Theonoe, God-minded, since her forefather's gift had passed to her. For like Nereus before her, she knew the sacred present and future. She knew it all. And I, my fatherland is not entirely unknown. Sparta. My father was Tyndareus, though some have said that Zeus flew to my mother, cloaked in swanskin, feigning a flight from an eagle's pursuit. Oh, he made for her a treacherous bed, if the story is true. Helen, I was called. I would tell you of my suffering. 3 goddesses, Hera, Aphrodite of Cyprus, and Athena, the Zeus-sprung maid, came to Paris, a Trojan prince, in an Idaean veil to prove their charm in a tournament of beauty. But Aphrodite offered my beauty, if ill omens can be beautiful, for Paris to marry, and thus she won the match. So Paris left behind his ox stalls and came to Sparta to seize my bed. But Hera, stung by her loss to the Cypriot and Athena, blew barren winds into my marriage, and gave not me, but a breathing phantom double molded from the sky to Priam's son. So Paris imagines that he has me, an empty apparition, but does not, and Zeus adds further misery to woe. War he heaved on to the Greeks and woeful Trojans, to unburden Mother Earth of her amassed multitude of mortals, and to reveal the bravest man in all of Greece. I was offered up, a test of Trojan courage and a spear prize for the Greeks. Not I, myself, that is, just my name. But Zeus did not forget me. Hermes swept me high into the sky coves, and concealing me in a cloud, brought me to the house of Proteus, whom he judged the most righteous of all men, to keep my bed unsullied for my husband, Menelaus. So, here I am. But my poor husband sailed his levied men to Troy's citadels to win me back by force. Oh, so many lives were lost in the flood of Scamander's stream because of me. And even after all I've suffered, I'm cursed by those who think I've betrayed my husband, that I've slung this loathsome war upon the Greeks. Then why live on? Hermes' prophecy. I've heard that I will live again in Sparta's splendid plains with my dear husband, after he comes to know that I did not go to Troy, if I don't spread my bed sheets for another man. Now, when King Proteus looked on daylight, I had asylum from all bedroom predators. But now that he's buried, cloaked in the shadows of the earth, and the dead king's son is hunting me for his wife. So, to honor my real husband, to preserve my bed for him, I have fallen on Proteus's tomb as a suppliant. No shame shall touch my body here, even if my name is infamous throughout Greece.
Who has power over these fortified halls? The god of wealth himself, I bet, has a house like this. Royal palace walls. Nice eaves on the sanctuary, too. Grrr. Oh gods, what do I see? I behold the deadly form of a most hateful woman, she who destroyed me and all the Achaeans. May the gods spit you out for all your likeness to Helen. If I were not standing on foreign soil, you would have died from this well-trimmed arrow as a reward for resembling Zeus's daughter.
Unlucky stranger, why do you turn away from me? Why scorn me for the pain that woman caused?
My mistake. I gave in to rage more than I should have. All of Greece hates the daughter of Zeus. Forgive me, lady, for the things that were said.
But who are you? From what land are you visiting this one?
I am one of the wretched Achaeans, lady.
Well then, no wonder you hate Helen. But again, who are you and where have you come from? Who might I call your fatherland?
The name is Teucros. Telamon is my father, and Salamis the land that nourished me.
What brings you to the land of the Nile?
I was driven out of my native land, an exile.
Oh, poor man. Who cast you from your fatherland?
Telamon, who sired me. Who should have been a better friend?
But why? It sounds a pretty tragic business.
My brother Ajax ruined me by dying in Troy.
How? Surely he didn't die by your sword, did he?
Falling onto his own sword did him in.
And he lost his mind. What sane man would do such a thing?
Do you know a certain Achilles, Peleus' son?
Sure, he came to woo Helen once. Or so I hear.
In dying, he set up a contest for his arms among his comrades.
And this so tormented Ajax? How?
When another man took his armor, he took his life.
I see. You are afflicted by his anguish.
Yes, because I didn't die with him.
Did you truly go to the famed city of Ilium, stranger?
Yes. And I myself was destroyed along with it.
Have flames taken the city? Has Ilium been completely razed?
So that not even a trace of the walls can be made out.
Oh, wretched Helen! The Trojans met their ruin because of you!
And the Achaeans too. Great evils have been done.
How long since the city's ruin?
Nearly 7 years harvest cycles.
And how long were you at Troy before that?
Many moons. On and on for 10 years.
This Spartan woman, did you take her too?
Menelaus dragged her off by her hair.
Did you actually see the miserable woman, or is this hearsay?
I saw her with my own eyes, no less than I see you now.
And you're sure it wasn't some apparition from the gods?
Change the subject, no more of her.
But you're sure her appearance was reliable?
I saw her with my own 2 eyes, and I see her still in my mind's eye.
Does that mean Menelaus is home now with his wife?
No, he is neither in Argos nor by the streams of the Euripides.
Oh, God, that's dreadful news. For whomever it would be, dreadful news.
He is said to have disappeared with his spouse.
But didn't the Argives take the passage homeward all as one?
They did, but a storm separated them in various directions.
On which backs of the salty sea?
As they were crossing mid-sea, the Aegean passage.
And after this, does anyone know of Menelaus' arrival?
No one. But it is said throughout Greece that he died.
We're done for! What about Hephaestus's daughter? Does she live?
Helen's mother, Leda? You mean? Oh, she's dead and gone.
What, slain by Helen's tarnished name?
So they say. She fashioned her well-born neck to a noose.
And the Tindarian sons, Castor and Pollux, do they live or not?
They have died and not died. There are 2 accounts.
But which bodes better? I'm worn out by this misery.
They say that the twins have been made like stars and are gods.
That would be good news, at least. But the other account?
Is that they killed themselves because of their sister. But enough of stories. I do not need to double my tears. I came to this royal house because I wanted to see Theanue, chanter of the gods' will. Help me arrange a visit so I can learn from the oracle how I must sail my ship to reach the sea-girt land of Cyprus. There it is that Apollo foretold I should live, calling my settlement by the islandy name of Salamis for the sake of my far-off native land.
The voyage itself will show you, stranger. Oh, the time! Oh, you've got to go. Flee this land before he catches sight of you. That son of Proteus, this country's king, is away hunting now, exulting with his trusty hounds and beast-butchering bloodshed. Oh, he kills every last Greek traveler he gets his hands on. And you don't want to know, so don't bother asking. And I'm not talking because what good would it do you?
Very good point, madam. May the gods give you full return for your kindness. You may have a body like Helen, but your minds are not the same. They are very different indeed. May she perish utterly and not come to Eurota's streams. But you, madam, may your fortune always be good.
As I build up to a great lamentation for sorrow so great, for what kind of wailing am I to contend? What muse to approach with teardrops or threnody or public mourning?
Feathery winging women young, maidens of the underworld, silence, I pray you might join together with Lyrian flute or panpipe for all my Alinus woes. Send me tears to answer my tears, pains for my pains, melodies for my melodies, music's in harmony with threnodic droning. So in her halls of night, Persephone, after these tears from me, would welcome a murderous, favorless Pion for all of my friends who are dead and gone. Going along the water blue, making my way in a tangle of green, I happen to be drying royal purple robes in the sun's golden rays on the stalks of bulrushes. Then I heard a piteous warbling lyre, this elegy, just what a nymph would have cried out, with many a groaning once on a time, let's say a naiad fleeing in mountains, sobbing a sorrowing song at the bottom of rocky gullies. She cries out and wails the unwelcome love of Pan. O captives of barbarian lore, O maidens of Hellas, some Achaean sailor came to me, bringing me tears upon tears and tears. Overthrow of Ilion was the work of blazing fire, all on account of deadly meat, thanks to my name of many toils. Leda, my mother too, took her life in a noose, crushed by grief at my apparent shame. And my lord in the sea wondering much, Menelaus is now dead and gone. Castor and my other brother, double begotten delight, to fatherland vanished, had forsaken the steed-struck riding grounds and gymnasia of the Bulrashi Eurotas, the labors of young men. I fortune worthy of lament, woman, your lot in life. Some age of misfortunes came to you when Zeus begot you in mother's womb. Like the snow-white wing of swan blazing through the upper air, is there a trouble you've not had? What in your life were you ever spared? Your mother is now gone, and the beloved twin offspring of Zeus are no longer there. Land of your ancestors out of sight, all through the cities is going a reputation that betrays you to a barbarian's bed. O Botnia and Menelaus, insulted Sergius has now forsaken his life, and never again will he bless his father's halls and famous house of bronze. Few, what Phrygian, or was it someone from Hellenic land, who felled the tree evergreen tears for Ilion to cry? Then the son of Priam, Paris, assembling a ruinous ship, driving on death for sons of Danaus. O wretched in misfortune! Then she of the golden throne, the holy embrace of Father Zeus, Queen Hera, sent forth the swift-foot Hermes' pious progeny. Hermes, as I was gathering in my mantle fresh petals of roses to take them to Athena's great house of bronze, abducted me across the sky into this forsaken land, depositing me a wretched quarrel, a quarrel of Greece for Priam's sons. My name, however, meanwhile along the banks of the Simois gathered a false report.
I know you suffer hardships deep, yet mark my word, it's best to bear lightly the things in life you can't avoid.
To what fate was I chained, my friends? Did my mother bear me as a freak among mankind? No woman, no Greek, no barbarian gives birth to her baby in an eggshell cask, as they say Leda bore me to Zeus. I suppose my life and affairs have been a freak, partly because of Hera, but my own beauty is also to blame. I wish that I'd been wiped clean like a statue to be newly painted, and instead of beauty had an uglier face, and that the Greeks had overlooked my present evil fortunes and were remembering the good, they now dwell on the bad. When someone faces a crisis from the gods and is distressed, it's a burden, yes, but bearable all the same. But me, I'm wrapped in many sorrows. First, though I've done nothing wrong, my name is loathed. It's so much worse to be scorned for things you haven't done than to suffer honest charges. And then the gods have transported me from my homeland to these barbarian haunts, stripped me of my loved ones. And what's more, even though I'm free by birth, I'm now a slave. For all barbarians are slaves except for one. So one anchor steadied me in hardship, that my husband would come one day and deliver me from this grief. But he is dead. He is no more. And my mother has perished, and I'm her killer. How unjust! Oh, injustice is mine to bear. And my daughter, my glory, my house's glory, grows gray as an unwed maid. And the two sons of Zeus, the so-called Dioskuroi, live no longer. Since all I have is ill-starred, I am as good as dead, though actually alive. And this is the final blow. If we were to come home, we would be shut out, since they'd assume that I, the Helen from Troy, was returning without Menelaus. Whereas if my husband were alive, we would be recognized as we arrived, with sureties known only to us. But now it's impossible, nor will he ever be rescued. Why then should I live on? What fortune do I have left? To choose marriage as an escape from suffering and live with that barbarian husband seated at his loaded table? But when a hated husband goes with a woman, even her own body becomes hateful. So it's best to die. How would that not be noble of me? For I have come to such a depth of woe. While other women are blessed by beauty, this very thing has ruined us.
Who is this stranger, Helen, just arrived? Do not assume his every word is true.
He said it so clearly. My husband is dead.
But many things are clearly said with a deceiving tongue.
Yes, and the reverse can be true as well.
You say this on misfortune's path, not headed into good.
Yes, for fear besets me, driving me to that dreaded thought.
Do those inside the house hold you in favor and goodwill?
All our friends, all except the man who hunts my hand in marriage.
Then hear what you must do. First, leave this tombside seat.
What are you saying? What kind of command or advice is this?
Go inside and ask the one who knows all things, the august maiden, born of Nereus' line, Theanoe. Inquire whether still your husband lives or if he's left the light. And once you've learned the facts, for sure, rejoice or else bewail your fate. Before you know a thing secure, what use will come of grieving? Trust me then, and I will gladly go inside with you and gladly hear the virgin's prophecy. For woman must with woman toil.
Dear friends, your words I did give ear. Go, go into the house to learn within the palace what new trials I must face. Most willingly at your command, alas, a dreadful day is this. Wretched woman, what will be the report? Evoking tears that I shall hear. As a prophetess of woe, do not, my dear, lament too soon. What has my husband, poor man, endured? Does he yet see the light of day? The sun's four-horse-drawn car and path of the stars? Or does he with the dead below have everlasting doom to bear? For the better end of hope, whatever it may turn out to be.
Pelops, charioteer, contender once with Oinomaus in the Pisan games, how I wish your offering to the gods had been complete, that you had died among them, left this life before your son Atreus, whom you sired, begot upon Europe Agamemnon, and me, Menelaus, a famous team. It was the greatest of all expeditions, I believe, and I say that without boasting, that I carried across the walls of Troy, leading young men of Greece not as a tyrant, but freely followed. We may call the roll of those who are not still in life and number those who escaped the sea to bring home the names of the dead. And yet I have been wandering fruitlessly upon the gray back of the salty sea, struggling homeward while ignored by the gods. When I neared my country, the vexed and jealous winds thwarted me, sent me off to this friendless land by desolate rock-strewn shores of Libya, where I was shipwrecked and all my friends were lost. From the wreckage, I gained the ship's keel, on which against all odds, I reached land, myself and Helen, whom I dragged from Troy. I do not know the kingdom nor its folks, and I was too embarrassed to be seen, ragged, improvident, and unlucky. A man of my provenance finds ill luck much more taxing than those used to misfortune. Need is too much for me. We have no food, no appropriate clothing to my skin, as you may surmise, seeing this wretched stuff, flotsam from the ship I now must wear. Oh, my treasure, all my resplendent robes, the sea has stolen, and in the cavern's depth I stowed the woman who caused these ills, along with my surviving friends, kept safe. Now I am here to scrounge what I can, provisions to take to those I left behind. I saw this mansion with its shining gables, the massive gates of some commanding man, and I am now come as do sailors, importunate, seeking charity from rich, not poor abodes. Impoverished men can't help, even if they would. Doormen, will you announce my visit?
Who's at the gate? Get away from this house. Don't loiter around the courtyard and bother my master. If you do, you'll be executed. You're a Greek, and Greeks have no business here.
Sure, since you put it so nicely, woman, I guess I'll have to obey, but ease up on the anger.
Go away. It's my job, stranger, to make sure no Greek gets anywhere near this house.
Hey, keep your hands off me. Don't push me.
This is on you. You aren't listening to me.
Go within. Announce me to your master.
I think you'll be sorry if I do take your message inside.
I come as a shipwrecked stranger requiring aid.
Then go to some other house, not this one.
No, I shall go in and you will obey me.
You're being a real pain. Soon you'll be forced to leave.
Where is the army that won me great fame?
So it seems you're a big shot somewhere, but not here.
Oh, destiny, you have brought me all low, all undeserved.
Are you crying? You think someone should feel sorry for you?
I'm recalling happiness from the dead past.
So beat it. Go cry to your friends.
Whose estate is this? Who rules this great house?
This is the house of Proteus. The land is Egypt.
Egypt? What cursed fortune sailed me here?
Why complain? What's the Nile's gleaming beauty ever done to you?
It's not the Nile's fault. It's just a sad soliloquy.
Plenty of people have problems. You're not the only one.
Will you name the master of this kingdom?
He's buried here. His son is now king.
Where is he? Inside or traveling abroad?
He's not home, and he hates Greeks.
What have I done that I should suffer this?
Helen, Zeus's daughter, is inside the palace.
What? This makes no sense. What was that again?
Tyndareus's daughter. She was in Sparta once.
And where did she come from? Can you explain that?
She came here from there, Sparta, the Lacedaemonian land.
When? Did somebody take her from my cave?
Stranger, before the Greeks ever sailed to Troy, she came here. Oh, but get away from this house. Something's happened and everything's a chaotic mess. You've come at a bad time. If my master catches you, the only hospitality you'll get is death. I'm actually well disposed to the Greeks, by the way. For all the harsh words I spoke in fear of my master.
What am I to think? My miseries continue on and on, since she tells me that my once abducted wife, brought from Troy and well guarded in a cave, is here? Is it some strange woman with the same name who lives in this house? She surely said it was the son of the child of Zeus. Perhaps some man named Zeus lives here by the Nile. The only Zeus I know lives in heaven, and there is no Sparta except where Euripides' streams make its reedy bed. The name Tyndareus is known around the world. There's only one, and there's only one land resounding with the name Lacedaemonia. Only one land called Troy, surely. I don't know what to think. In this great world, perhaps there are many lands with the same name, maybe many men called the same as others, cities like cities, women like women. It's nothing wonderful, it's nothing odd at all. I won't flee just because some servant threatens. There can be no man so barbarous as to hear my name and refuse me food. Famous is the burned citadel of Troy, and I, Menelaus, set it ablaze. I'll await the war, Lord. I've got 2 lines of defense. If he be savage, well, then I shall hide and strike backward to the wreck. But if he be kind, I'll requisition what these dire circumstances make me crave. This is the worst of all my problems, being a king myself and looking to another king for help. Still, necessity offers us no choice. I didn't make that up, but it sounds good.
I heard from the maiden of godly song the answer I needed in the tyrant's palace. How Menelaus is not yet gone through the gleaming ring, flew underground, hidden away. But still
here I am again, heading back to my seat at this tomb. But what good news from Theonaway! She really knows everything. She says my husband's living and looks upon the splendor of day. But this too, that he's roaming on the boundless sea here and there, and that he'll arrive when he hits the limit of his woes, battered by his wandering. But one thing she didn't say, whether or not he'll survive once he gets here. I couldn't bring myself to ask. I was so overjoyed by the news that he was safe. She said he's near this land, cast up and shipwrecked with just a few companions. Oh, when will you come? How sweet would your arrival be? Oh, who is this man? I'm being ambushed by that scheming, godless son of Proteus. Quick now, to the tomb, like a nimble colt or a holy bacchant. Oh, he's got a wild look, this man who hunts me down.
You reaching now in such a fearful way toward this piled grave and burnstone of the pyre. Stay! Why do you flee? Your body has shocked me.
Oh, the abuse! Women! This man, he's keeping me from the tomb. He wants to seize me, turn me over to the king. I refuse to marry.
I am no thief or servant to bad men.
Well, you have got a pretty shabby outfit on.
Hold up, stay your foot.
I have, now that I've reached this tomb.
Who are you, lady? On whose face do I gaze?
Well, who are you? We both have the same question.
I've never seen a form so like a form.
Oh, gods, for recognizing one's loved ones is also divine.
Are you Greek or a native of this land?
A Greek, but I want to know about you too.
You are more like Helen than anyone I ever saw.
And you are so much like Menelaus. I don't know what to say.
Then you have rightly recognized a man of cursed fortune.
At long last, you've come home to the arms of your wife.
Wife? What wife? Hands off the shirt.
The wife my father Tyndareus gave you.
Oh, torch-bearing Hecate, send me kindly visions.
You're seeing me, not some nocturnal specter of the crossroads goddess.
I'm one husband. I can't have two wives.
But what other wife are you master of?
The one I left inside the cave. The one I'm bringing home from Troy.
You have no wife but me.
Am I crazy? Maybe my vision's blurred.
Don't you believe your eyes? Don't you see your wife?
You look like her, but facts don't lie.
Look at me. What better proof do you need?
You are just like her. I can't deny it.
Who will be your teacher, if not your eyes?
They must be diseased. I have another wife.
That was a phantom double. I did not go to Troy.
What force can make a body live and breathe?
The ether. From there you have a god-assembled wife.
Which god made her? I cannot understand.
Hera did, as a forgery, so Paris could not get me.
And how then were you here and yet at Troy too?
A name could be many places, but a body, no.
Release me. I've had enough to spare.
You mean you'll abandon me and go off with the phantom bride?
With sweet farewell, since you are so alike to Helen.
I'm ruined. After getting you, I will not keep my husband?
The magnitude of my toils at Troy persuades me. You do not.
Alas, who's been through more than I? My beloved husband is leaving me, and I shall not come to Greece, nor ever to my native land.
Menelaus, I've just come, searching after you, wandering all over this barbarian land, sent by your companions left behind.
What now? The barbarians haven't robbed the cave, have they?
It's a miracle, though that word doesn't do it justice.
Speak, your haste foretells strange tidings.
I mean that you have suffered countless troubles in vain.
That's crying over old news. Anything else?
Well, your wife has gone up to the folds of air, lifted out of sight. She's hidden in the sky, abandoning the holy cave where we were guarding her, with these parting words. "O wretched Phrygians, and all you Achaeans, on my account you went on dying on Scamander's banks, as Hera plotted, thinking that Paris had Helen when he did not. But I, since I remained here till the time was right, and have fulfilled my destined role, to my native heaven I return. Tyndareus' poor daughter has suffered a bad reputation through no fault of her own." Oh. Hello, daughter of Leda. So this is where you've been. I was just reporting how you had gone into the starry nooks. I had no idea you had a winged body. I won't let you pull this trick again. You caused enough trouble at Troy for your husband and his fellow warriors.
I see. I understand. Her story is true. Oh, long desired day that gives you to my arms to hold.
Oh, dearest of men, Menelaus, how very long I've waited, but at last delight is now at hand. I'm overjoyed, my friends, to hold him once again, and wrap my loving arms around his body after so many a morning star.
And I've got you, but so much still to say that I don't know the best way to begin now that we're here.
I'm overjoyed, and on my head all the hair is standing up on end, my tears are falling. Around his body, see, I throw my arms to seize pleasure, O husband mine.
O most beloved sight, I cannot complain. I've got a hold of Zeus and Leda's daughter.
Me whom beneath the torch is my white horse blood brothers gave me their blessing gave.
So long ago, but after taking you from home, some gods leading you to a fortune that's better than this one.
Misfortune's fortunate if it brings us together again, my lord. Took long enough, but still may I enjoy my life.
May you enjoy indeed, I wish the same myself. With couples it's not one is happy, one is not.
My friends, let's put the past behind. Let us no longer whine. My husband, mine, oh mine, I got him, I waited and waited for many years for him to come from Troy.
I've got you and you've got me too. Those countless days I toiled through, I now see Hera's hand at work. Because of such great joy, the tears I'm crying have more of gratitude than grief.
What should I say, what mortal ever would have thought? Unexpected, I hold you to my heart.
And I've got you, who I once thought went to Mount Ida city and towers of wretched Ilion.
If hereafter you enjoy a happy fate, let this make up for what has gone before.
Menelaus, could you two share this joy with me? I'm learning about it myself, but I don't grasp it clearly.
All right, my man, share in the story yourself.
Isn't this woman responsible for our toils at Troy?
Not this one. We were cheated by the gods. We held a bit of cloud in our hands.
What do you mean? So we had all that trouble for nothing but a cloud?
This was Hera's doing in the strife of the three goddesses.
What? This woman here is truly your wife?
The very one. You may take my word on it.
Oh, daughter of Leda, what a complex thing is God, and hard to fathom. He manages to twist things up thoroughly, arranging them this way and that. One man suffers, another does not, but finally meets with a bad end, with nothing sure in his fortune. You and your husband certainly had your share of troubles, you from people's blameful words, he from eagerness for the spear. Though zealous when he strove to rescue you, he got nothing. But now he has spontaneous blessings and has fared very well. I see that you did not bring shame upon your old father and brothers, and you did not do those things people say. Now I renew your wedding hymn and recall the torches that I carried, running with the 4-horse team. And you, the bride upon the chariot seat, with this man here, left your blessed home. Base is he who does not honor his master's affairs, nor rejoice beside them and share in his distress. Even though I was born a slave, I'd hope to be reckoned a noble one, not having a free man's name, perhaps, but at least a free man's mind. For that is better than for a single man to suffer 2 evils, having a base mind and obeying those around me as a slave.
Come on then, my fellow. You have shared my tasks, stood beside my shield, and supported me in hard times. Share now in my good fortune and take the news back to the companions we have left. How our luck has changed. Tell them to await me at the seashore and look to the trials of strength that await me, as I expect, if somehow we can win my wife away from here, and to be on guard that by some way, combining our fortunes, we may be rescued from barbarians, if we can.
It will be done, my lord, but I've got to tell you, I see now how foolish and full of lies prophecy is. Apparently there's nothing sound in the sacrificial flame, nor the cries of birds. It's really pretty silly in the first place, expecting birds to help mortals. Calchas, anyway, didn't say or indicate to the army that he foresaw his friends dying for a cloud. Neither did Helenus. Instead, the city was ravaged for nothing. You could say it's because the god did not want to give a sign. But then why do we consult oracles? Those who sacrifice to the god should ask for good things and leave prophecy alone. It was invented as a trick to make a living, and nobody ever got rich by sitting back at the sacrifices. Common sense is the best prophet, and good counsel.
This man's thoughts on oracles and mine come to the same. He who has the gods as friends would have the finest oracle at home.
Well, up to now, things are looking pretty good. But how you were saved from Troy, poor one, it'll do no good to know, but somehow friends long to hear the troubles of their friends.
You have asked too much for a single question all in one go. Why should I recall the harsh Aegean, the shipwrecking fires set by Nauplios on Euboean shores, and what cities of Crete and Libya I was driven past, and the lookout promontories of Perseus? If I should fill you up with stories, my tale of woe would burden me again. I should suffer twice the voyage's pain.
You've said more than I asked for. But tell me one thing, leaving the rest aside. How long were you consumed in salty wandering on the ocean's back?
We were 10 years upon the Trojan land. On ship, I passed through another 7 yearly circuits.
Oh, so many years, you poor man. But you've made a safe escape, only to come to slaughter here.
How's that? How do you mean? How have you ruined me, woman?
Get out of this land. Run as fast as you can. It's the lord of this house. You'll die at his hands.
What on earth did I do to deserve this predicament?
You come as an unexpected impediment to my wedding.
What? Someone here wants to marry my wife?
Yes, committing an outrage against me, which I would have had to endure.
A private strong man or one ruling with power?
The ruler of this land, the son of Proteus.
Now I understand the gatekeeper's riddles.
Which barbarian gates did you stand at?
These right here. They drove me off like a beggar.
Oh, tell me you weren't asking for handouts. I'm mortified.
I wouldn't call it that. Though, yes, that was the matter of the fact.
So, you know all about my marriage, it seems.
I do, but not whether you have escaped his bed.
Please believe me, I've kept my bed untouched and saved for you.
Can you prove it? You're most welcome if you do.
Look at my wretched seat. Don't you see this tomb?
I see a miserable straw pallet. What's it got to do with you?
I sit here as a suppliant, a fugitive from marriage.
No altar, though. Is this some strange foreign custom?
This tomb's protected me, like the gods' temples.
Can we not leave together, sail back home?
A sword awaits you sooner than my bed.
If so, I should be the most miserable of all men.
Don't be ashamed now. Just flee this land.
Leave you? I sacked Troy for your sake.
Better than that than for my marriage to kill you.
Craven counsel, unworthy of Troy.
You can't kill Theoclemenus if that's what you're after.
Is his skin so impervious to steel?
You'll see, but no wise man attempts the impossible.
Should I offer my hands quietly to the shackles?
You're in dire straits. You need some sort of scheme.
Better to die fighting than through inaction.
Well, there is some hope. Yes, our one salvation would be if we
Bribe
could...
him. Oh, no, fight him. Clever politics?
If the king doesn't find out you've come.
Well, he won't know who I am, I'm sure of that. And who would tell him?
He lives with an ally. She's as mighty as the gods.
He has an oracle in the depths of his house?
No, his sister, they call her Theonaway, god-minded.
Ah, prophetic name, yes. And what can she do?
She knows everything, and she'll tell her brother you're here.
Then she'll find me out, and we shall die.
But perhaps you could persuade her through supplication.
To do what? You lead me towards some hope.
Not to tell her brother you're in the land.
And if she agrees, could we set foot off this soil?
With her help, yes, readily. Without her knowing, though, impossible.
This sounds like a job for a woman.
Right. You can be sure I'll touch her knees in supplication.
Okay. But what if she won't listen to us?
You die. And I, poor thing, will be taken by force and marriage.
You traitor! Force is just an excuse.
No, I swear a sacred oath on your life.
You mean
never...
you'll die? You'll die and never swap beds.
Yes, by the very same sword. And then I shall lie beside you.
I accept your pledge. Take my hand on it.
There. If you are killed, I shall leave the light of day.
And if I lose you, I shall take my life.
Now, how shall we die to get some glory out of it?
Oh, upon this high tomb, I shall kill us both. Ooh, but first, let's wage a most heroic fight with your bed as the prize. Oh, let me at him. I shall not dim the honor won at Troy, nor gain great blame by getting home to Greece. I, who stripped Achilles from his mother, I, who looked upon the slaughter of Telamonian Ajax and Nestor, shorn of every son. Shall I not deem it right to die for my wife? Yes, indeed, if there are gods, and if they have sense, a brave man who dies in war wears the soil lightly in his tomb. The coward is thrown out upon the barren ridge of rock.
Good fortune give it last, O God, this house of Tantalus, and let them change these ills for good.
You, go out first with torches and purify every pocket of air with sulfur and flame as the divine rule says to do, so we can take pure breaths of heaven's air.
Poor me, such is my fate. Menelaus, we're done for. The seer Theonaway is coming out of the house. The bar's being lifted. The whole house is resounding. Run. Oh, but what's the point of running? She knows you've come, whether she's here or not. Misery me, how I'm ruined. Saved from Troy, from that barbarian land, you've come again to fall upon barbarian swords.
Now you, if someone has violated the path, treading with profane step Pass the torch over it closely to clean it up so I can pass through. When you have finished the tasks the gods demand, carry the hearth flame back to the house. Helen, what do you think? Have my predictions turned out true? Your husband Menelaus is here plain as day, but he has lost both his ships and your phantom double. Poor man. You have arrived after escaping how many dangers, but you don't yet know if you'll get home or stay here. The gods are still arguing about your situation, and today Zeus has called an assembly to decide what to do. Hera, once your enemy, is now on your side and wants to save you and send you home with your wife, so the Greeks will learn that Paris's wedding, Aphrodite's bribe, was a pretend marriage. But Aphrodite doesn't want you to get home because she will be seen as having bought her prize for beauty with a fake marriage to Helen. In the end, it's up to me. Either I destroy you as Aphrodite wishes by telling my brother you're here, or standing with Hera, I save your life, keeping my brother in the dark. He ordered me to tell him if you ever happen to show up here. Who will go and tell my brother the man is here? Telling him the news will keep me safe.
Maiden, I fall around your knees, a suppliant. I sink down, wretched, for my sake, and for this man. After finding him at long last, I am on the verge of seeing him die. Do not, I beg you, tell your brother that my husband here has come, wholly beloved, to my arms. Keep us safe, I beg you. Don't ever betray your pious duty just for your brother's sake by dealing in favors that are vile and unjust. The gods hate violence and ordain that all men get their worthy possessions by their own power, not by forceful plunder. You see, common to all men is the sky, the earth too, in which we must live, filling our houses full, but not taking by force another's possessions and holding on to them. For me, it was at the right time, though hard, that Hermes gave me to your father to keep me safe for my husband, who is here and wants to retrieve me. So how could he take me back if he were dead? And how could your father ever give the living back to the dead? Now, consider the wishes of the gods and your father. Would the divinity and the dead man want you to return your neighbor's possessions, or would they not? I think they would. So, your reckless brother mustn't hold more sway than your honorable father. And if you, who are a seer and leading believer in godly affairs, corrupt the lawful conduct of your father to grant a favor to your lawless brother, then shameful it is to know all about powers divine, shameful to know what is and what will be, but not what is right. Save me, wretch that I am, from the evils I am buried in, and grant this as a fringe benefit to justice. For there's no man alive who doesn't hate Helen. I who am infamous throughout Greece for betraying my husband to go live in the gilded halls of Phrygian Troy. But if I return to Hellas and set foot again in Sparta, if they hear and see how it was by tricks of the gods that they were destroyed, and that I did not betray my loved ones after all, they will restore me once more to my good name. And my daughter, whom no one will marry now, I shall give her hand in marriage. And after this life of bitter wandering, I shall take delight in the wealth still in my house. If this man had died and were consumed on the pyre, even if he were far away, I would go on loving him with my tears. But as it is, he was saved. And here he is. Shall I be robbed of him? Please no, maiden. Instead, I beseech you this. Grant me this favor and emulate the ways of your decent father. For the noblest glory a child can have when born from a good family is to attain the same high character as her parents.
Now halfway done, your words call forth lament, and so do you. But now we wish to hear the words your Lord will say to save his life.
I cannot force myself to kiss your feet, nor water my pathetic eyes with tears. Such degraded behavior disrespects the heroic stature that I achieved at Troy. True, I've heard that well-born men have found relief when tears burst from their eyes, but this I don't accept. It lends no privilege, no honor at all. I choose courage instead. But if you think it's right to save a foreign man who justly seeks to have his wife returned, give her up and save me while you're at it. If you disagree, well, that's no new evil. The same old wretchedness would carry on, but you will be revealed to be a wicked woman, and true justice, which is mine, ours, will surely touch your heart, as I declaim before your father's tomb. Venerable sir, you beneath the stone, I plead you, give me back my faithful wife, whom Zeus sent here for you to keep safe for me. I know that you yourself cannot return her, now you're dead, but she will never deign to hear her father, whom now we summon from below, spoken ill when once he was so glorious, for that is in her power. Lord Hades of the dismal underworld, you have taken many bodies, fallen to my blade for Helen's sake. You have been paid, so either send these brave men back to us alive, or force this maiden to appear as pious as her father. Restore to me the bride of all my love. Let me tell you this too, something Helen didn't say. If you strip me of my wife, we are bound by oath. First maiden, I battle with your brother and he will die, or that says it all. But if his bravery fails to match with mine, and he tries to starve 2 suppliants at his door, then I shall kill my woman and myself. It is decided, driving a 2-edged sword into my heart's core, and there upon this grave, the blood will splash and drip, and we will lie, 2 corpses, side by side. The shame to you and your father both will cause eternal pain, a life's reproach. Your brother won't marry her. No one shall. We shall be together with the dead if I am not alive to take her home. But why say this? If I cry weak woman's tears, I might win pity, but nothing would get done. So kill me if you will. You cannot kill your shame. Yet better, be persuaded by my words. Give into justice and give me back my wife.
To judge these words, young woman, falls to you. Decide in such a way that you please everyone.
By inclination and nature, I'll do what is right. I care about myself and don't want to ruin my father's reputation, nor to do my brother a favor if it brings me publicly into disgrace. My heart's capacity for justice is great, and since I inherited this from my ancestor Nereus, I shall try, Menelaus, to preserve it. And if in fact Hera wants to help you, I'll cast my vote into the same urn as hers. May Aphrodite be favorable, though she has never come to me. I shall try to remain a virgin forever. As for the complaints you made by my father's tombstone, we could not agree more. It would be unjust if I don't give her back. For if my father were alive, he would give her back to you to keep, and you to her. In fact, there is punishment for these things among those below and those above ground. And although the minds of the dead do not live exactly, their immortal judgment remains throughout the immortal upper air. Not to go on at length, then, I'll keep quiet about what you requested so urgently, and won't ever become counsel to my brother's madness. I'll be helping him even when I don't seem to be, if I make him behave honorably instead of dishonorably. You two figure out some path yourselves, and I'll stay out of the way and keep quiet. Begin with the gods and beg Aphrodite first to let you return home, and then Hera to keep her intention true to save you and your husband. And I promise, my dead father, to ensure to the best of my power that your name will never be called into dishonor.
Good fortune never falls to men who prove unjust. In justice sits the hope of rescue.
Menelaus, we've been saved, as far as the maiden is concerned. Next thing is, you must come up with some ideas and frame a plan for our mutual salvation.
Well, listen then. You've lived long in this house and know well the attendance of the king.
What do you mean? You offer some hope as if you'll do something good for us both.
Could you persuade a chariot master to give us one of the 4-horse teams?
I might, but what would be our escape route, unfamiliar as we are with the plains of this land?
Oh, you're right. It's hopeless that way. Could I hide in the house and cut down the king with my sword? That might work.
His sister wouldn't allow it, nor would she keep quiet if you were going to kill her brother.
Oh, and we don't even have a ship to make a safe escape. The one I had was taken by the sea.
Listen, if a woman may also say something clever, even though you're not dead, are you willing to be named dead?
Bad omen. But if you think it might work, I'll do it. Report me dead, though I'm not.
Then I can mourn as women do, with shorn hair and dirges before that unholy man.
Where's the part about our rescue? This plan seems a bit old-fashioned.
I'll ask the king of this land to bury you in an empty tomb, as if you died at sea.
Suppose he agrees. How are we saved by burying me when we still haven't even got a ship?
Oh, bid him give me a vessel to cast the finery of your tomb down to the sea's embrace.
Great idea. Except for one thing. What if he makes you bury me here on land? Then the pot's fruitless.
But we shall claim it's not customary in Greece to bury on dry land those who die at sea.
You set that straight too. And then I shall sail along in the same boat and help cast in the burial goods.
Exactly. You must be there, and also your sailors who survived the shipwreck.
And once I get that ship at anchor, we will start to fight. I'll cut them down, man to man, sword to sword.
You must direct it all. Let's just hope there's favorable breezes for the sail and a running ship.
Oh, there will be. The gods will end my toils. Oh, but who will you say told you that Menelaus died?
You. Just say that you alone escaped doom when you were sailing with Atreus' son and saw him dead.
And these rags around my body will corroborate your shipwreck story.
Great timing now. What was bad timing then? That misfortune could prove lucky.
So what? Should I go with you into the house or sit quietly here beside the tomb?
Wait right here. So if he should do anything nasty, this tomb should protect you and your sword. As for me, I'll go into the house, cut off my curls, and I'll exchange my white gown for black, drive my nails into my cheek, bloodying my skin. There's a lot at stake here, and I see both sides of the scale. Either I must die, if I'm caught in my cunning, or I can save your skin and reach my fatherland. O lady, who layeth yourself in Zeus's bed, Hera, relieve us too, man and wife, in piteous plight from our toils. We beg you, flinging our arms outstretched to the sky, where you inhabit the starry tapestry. And you, who won a beauty contest at the cost of my marriage, daughter of Dione, Cyprian Aphrodite, may you not finish me off.
I summon you, come from your temple of song, where on a wooden throne you perch, perching in your halls wood grown. Sweetest singing of all songbirds, you melodious nightingale, and yet so tearful. Come trembling through warbling, chirruping throat, joining in to help with my threnody. destiny, so tearful under Achaean spearmen. When running across the great surges with his barbaric oar, he came to you, misery stealing for Priam's sons. Out of Sparta, your royal bed, Helen, oh Helen, perished the fatally wed, sent forth by Aphrodite. Many Achaeans by spear and by stone thrown, breathing their last, have attained homes in horrible Hades, and made their wretched wives crop dresses and mourning, their houses life marriageless buried, and kindling a beggarly light on the salt-circled isle, you boy, a many a Greek did a lone rower kill that night by luring them into rocks on the seaside Aegean, Helen shining a treacherous star. And then Menelaus was driven from fatherland by storm, through treacherous harborless wilderness in barbaric garb, with a prize that was no prize at all, just a struggle for Greeks stowed away on his ships, the phantom made by Hera. What is God or not God, and what lies in between? What mortal could discover this, the furthest limit of certainty one has found when she sees matters divine leaping here and there, back again, chances contradictory, unexpected. You were born of Zeus, O Helen, his daughter sprung, winged your father fathered you, swan diving in Leda's lap, and yet you were branded throughout Hellas, treacherous and faithless, immoral, atheist, nor can I find any explanation by humankind that is clear or understanding of gods. You are fools who would acquire virtue in war, and sharpened point of mighty spear, stupidly coming to terms with toil, but your death is the price, and if a conflict of blood decide, then the strife never will forsake the cities of mankind. Strife it was that won them chambers in Priam's soil, they could have straightened out with words your quarrel, O Helena. As things are, Hades below welcomes them, and a deadly fire like Zeus has swept over the walls of Troy. And you suffered pains upon wretched pains, on and on, pitiable misfortunes.
Blessings, tomb of my father. Here at the very gates, Proteus, I laid you down that I might address you daily. Never once have I passed in or out of the house without greeting thee, scion to sire, your son, Theoclymenus. Come, slaves, and bring the hunting dogs and traps into the royal palace. I've kicked myself often indeed for not punishing the wrongdoers with death, even now that I've learned some Greekling in broad daylight has strolled into our country and slipped past the guards. A spy for sure, or some stealthy hunter of Helen. But he will die if only he is trapped. Oh no, looks like the whole scheme is finished, I now find. She's left empty the tomb's comfort. Tyndareus' daughter is smuggled out of the country. To arms! Remove the bolts, open the cavalry stables, and draw up the chariots. I will spare no pains to prevent my intended bride from being kidnapped and carried out of this land. Wait, hold it. I see the ones we're after. Still here in the palace and not runaways after all. You, Why have you clad your body in black robes, swapping them for white? Why have you attacked your noble head with iron and shorn away your hair? Why do you wet your cheeks and weep with fresh tears? Is it by the urging of nocturnal dreams that you groan? Or have you heard some report from home and lost your mind with grief?
Master, for now I call you by this name. He's dead. My everything is gone, and I am nothing more.
In what crisis are you mired? What's happened?
My Menelaus, ah me, how shall I say it, is dead.
I don't revel at all in these words, despite my good fortune. But how do you know? Theanoe told you all this, did she?
She says it, and the man who was there when he perished.
Then someone has come to report clear facts?
Come he has. May he go where I want him to.
Who is he? Where is he? Explain more clearly.
This man who sits cowering at the foot of the tomb.
By Apollo, what a sight from these shabby clothes. Ugh.
Alas, I imagine my husband looked this way too.
Where in the world is he from? And from where did he gain this land?
He's Greek, one of the Achaeans sailing with my husband.
In what manner of death does he claim Menelaus died?
The most pitiful. In the salt sea's running waves.
Where in foreign waters was he sailing?
He was shipwrecked on the harborless rocks of Libya.
But how did his companion here not perish?
Sometimes lesser men have better luck than noble born.
Where did he leave the wreckage before coming here?
Where I wish it may perish. But not Menelaus.
Oh, he did perish. But in what sort of craft did he come?
Sailors came upon him, picked him up, is what he says.
So where's that evil thing that was sent to Troy in your place?
You mean the cloud image? Gone off into thin air.
Oh, Priam, oh, Trojan land, you were ruined for nothing.
I too partook in the misfortunes of Priam's people.
No, wait, did he leave your husband unburied or cover him with earth?
Unburied. Oh, I am wretched in my woes.
And so for this you cut the locks of your golden hair?
Yes, for he is still as beloved to me here as he once was.
But is it really right to mourn this calamity?
You think it's easy to fool your sister?
No way. So what, will you keep living at this tomb?
I have been loyal to my husband in fleeing you.
Oh, why do you taunt me and not let the dead man go?
But no longer. Now, start making wedding arrangements.
Well, that took long enough. All the same, I praise your actions.
Here's what to do. Let's forget the past.
Well, what's in it for me? One favor repay another.
Let's make a truce. Be reconciled to me.
I give up the quarrel. Let it fly away.
Now, I implore you by your knees, seeing that you are a friend.
Oh, what are you after that you reach out to me in supplication?
My dead husband. I wish to bury him.
What? A tomb for the lost? Will you bury a shade or what?
The Hellenes have a custom for whomever dies at sea.
To do what? Pelops' people are clever at such things.
They hold burial rites for empty woven robes.
Bury away. Raise a tomb wherever you like.
Not so do we bury our dead sailors.
How then? We're not up on Greek customs around here.
We take out to sea all the items necessary for the spirits of the dead.
Well, what shall I offer you then for your dead?
This man knows. I'm inexperienced, fortunate up until now.
Stranger, you have brought me pleasant tidings.
Not for me, nor for the man himself, I think.
So how do you bury the dead who have perished at sea?
With what magnificence a man can afford.
Well, as for wealth, tell me what you want, for the sake of this woman.
First, there is a blood sacrifice to Earth.
Of which beast? You tell me, and I'll comply.
Decide for yourself. Every gift satisfies.
Well, with us foreigners, a horse or bull is the custom.
Oh, for such then, but none that are malformed.
We have not a few of these in our fertile lands.
Funeral cloths are also laid, despite the absent corpse.
So be it. What else is it customary to provide?
Bronze weapons. He loved bronze weapons.
We shall offer something worthy of Pelops's children.
We need ripe grains and fruits of earth also.
What then? How do you sink all this into the swells?
A ship with rowers at the splashing oars.
And how great a distance must one keep the ship from land?
Past the sight of the breaking waves.
But why? For what reason does Greece observe this law?
So the waves don't cast the sacrifice on shore.
Okay, you will have a swift-running Phoenician ship with oars.
That is good. Menelaus would approve.
And will you not be able to do all this without her?
This is a job for a mother, a wife, or a child.
Well, hers is a hard story, you say, burying her husband?
Yes, a final piety given to the dead.
All right, let her go. It's to my advantage to foster a dutiful wife. Come into the palace and select adornments for the dead, and I shall not send you off empty-handed from this land after you have gratified her. And since you brought reports favorable to me, you will get, in place of these rags, clothes and food enough to reach home, as now I see you in such a wretched state. And you, my poor dear, do not wear yourself away on futilities, grieving for Menelaus. Life is for the living, and Menelaus has met his fate. Not even with your lamentations could the dead live again.
You see your task, young woman, to cherish and to love the husband you have. Others, you may discard. That's the best you can do in this situation. And if I get back to Greece in safety, I'll put an end to the slanders spoken in the past. If you be the kind of wife you should for your husband.
I shall. My husband will never find fault with me. You yourself, since close at hand, will see it all. But poor fellow, come inside and have a bath. Get out of those clothes without delay. I'll do you well. For you would be more amenable to doing what is right for dearest Menelaus, if you get from me all that you should.
The mountain mother of the gods once raced swift-footed along her course throughout all the wooded glens, over the rivers and water streams, and the deep roaring sea's salty swell, yearning for the lost maiden whose name is not spoken. Piercing tintinnabulations of castanets cried out, rattling, roaring, resounding, as the goddess yoked her team of creatures to chariot, and set off in hope she could save her daughter who was snatched away from a swarming chorus of ghosts. With her dart the whirlwind-footed archer goddess Artemis and the Gorgon knight in manhood leap, but Zeus shining forth from his seat
inside the house, my friends, the daughter of Proteus, helping hide my husband being here, said nothing to her brother when questioned. He's dead and doesn't see the day of light. So she said as a favor to me. My husband seized his chance very skillfully indeed. The weapons he was supposed to cast into the sea, he carries them himself, his noble arm through the shield strap and holding a spear in his right hand, as though joining in service to the dead man. Handily indeed he decked himself with weapons for battle, preparing to rout a foreign host by hand, when once we get onto the oared ship. Fine robes instead of shipwrecked clothes, I decked him out myself, and gave his body to the bath, a long-awaited washing with pure river water. But he's coming out of the house now. The one who thinks I do with me is ready to hand. Be silent, for my sake. I beg you, remain loyal and hold your tongue in case we can come save you someday, if we are saved.
Go, servants, in orderly fashion, as the stranger ordered, and bring along the funeral gifts of the sea. But you, Helen, unless I seem mistaken in what I say, be persuaded and wait here. You'll achieve the same thing for your husband whether you are present or not. I fear some passion will crash over you and urge you to hurl your body into the salty swell, stung by the ecstatic joys of your former husband. Far too much do you groan for him who is no more.
My new husband, it's absolutely necessary to honor my first marriage bed and my bridal companion. For love of my husband, I would have even died with him. But what gratification would he have if I died along with him, already dead? Let me go and give funeral gifts to the dead man myself. May the gods give you all I wish them to, and also to the stranger here for helping us work this matter out. And you will have in me the kind of wife you ought to have at home, since you have done well by Menelaus and me. For this affair is coming to a happy end. But appoint someone who will give a ship for us to haul this stuff. Appoint him now, so I may be fully in grateful debt.
Go, you give them a 50-oared ship, a Sidonian one, and provide rowing masters.
Won't this man command the ship who runs the funeral rites?
Certainly. My sailors must obey him.
Repeat the command so they can clearly understand you.
I command it again, and a third time too, if you like.
May you be rewarded, as may I, for my plans.
Now don't ruin your complexion with too many tears.
This day will show you how grateful I am.
Oh, the affairs of the dead are nothing but a useless pain.
Those of whom I speak have some power both in this world and the next.
You will have in me a husband no worse than Menelaus.
You are not to blame. I only need good luck.
It's yours, if you show me a kind spirit.
There's no need now to teach me how to love my loved ones.
Do you want that I myself should help and launch the mission?
No. Don't be a slave to your slaves, my lord.
Very well. I'll let Greek customs be. My house is pollution-free, as Menelaus did not die here. Let someone go and bid my servants bring the wedding decorations to my house. All the land must cry aloud with blessed wedding hymns, so that our wedding, mine and Helen's, will be envied. And you, stranger, go to the arms of the sea and give these things to her, one-time husband. Then hurry home again with my wife, so that you may celebrate with me the marriage of this woman, and head off home. Or stay here and be happy.
Oh, Zeus, father and wisest of the gods, look upon us and bring an end to pain. When fate shipwrecks us upon life's harsh rocks, assist us. Reach with but your fingertips, and we are raised to a triumphant plain. Oh, gods, I have cursed you, but I've praised you too. I don't deserve bad luck forever, but to walk with stride. erect. One little favor grant, and you will make me happy for what's left of my life.
Phoenician, Sidonian, know you swift-running ship to Nereus' spray. Dear is your pulling oar, you lead the graceful choruses of dolphins when the wind drops off and the white surface is calm. Then ocean's daughter, silvery Galatea pronounces, luffing the sails, leave them hanging their slack. Wait no more, the mariner's bruised, but take in hand now your pine white horse. Oh, sailors, sailors, I bid you bring Helen home to the sheltered shores of the house of Perseus. Helen, I think, beside the swollen river, Euripides' daughters will find. Or at Athena's shrine at last she'll take part in the dance, for the reveling band, all-night festival for Hyacinth, whom Phoebus Apollo with the endless wheel of the discus killed in a contest. The Laconian land, Zeus' son, and told of Euripides' cattle sacrifice. Oh, Helena, Helena, your lovely daughter you'll find, whose pine wedding torches have yet to blaze out. I wish we were birds that could fly through the air, winging to Libya, flying in formation, leaving wintry rains behind, heeding the cry of the leader, who in old age shepherds them, following his steering's call. They fly over the dry desert land and fertile furrows of fruit and grain. Winged ones with your stretching necks, you race alongside the clouds. Through the Pleiades go now and fly, and Orion's nocturnal sky proclaim the news as you rest mid course on Eurotas' bank. Menelaus has now taken Troy, soon he will be coming back home. I pray you to come now and ride through the air on a galloping path, sons of Tyndareus, under gusts of bright whirling stars. You ruled well in heaven above, twin saviors of Helena, over the blue salty swell and the dark colored billowing, surging and dashing gray of the sea. Send our sailors fresh blowing wind, breezes fair from Zeus' father's sky. Strike away from your sister now, infamy of barbarian love, that she got as a reward for the judge of Mount Ida's quarrel, though she never made it to Troy and towers of Apollo.
Lord, we've found the worst things going. How startling a disaster! You'll shortly hear from me.
What is it?
You're gonna have to start courting some other woman. Helen is gone from this land.
Whisked away on wings or with earthbound foot?
Menelaus, the same one who came to tell us he died, has taken her a pirate's booty by ship.
How awful what you tell. What ship stole her away from this land? What you're saying is unbelievable.
The same one you handed over to the foreigner. He's gone off, taking your sailors with him. There you have the story in brief.
How? I'm eager to know. It never occurred to me that one man's hand could overrun so many sailors, of whom you yourself were one.
Zeus's daughter Helen, departing this kingly home and heading for the sea, planting graceful steps, cunningly mourning her man, nearby, not dead. As we reached the enclosure of your docks, We were drawing down the Sidonian ship to its maiden voyage, 50 benches filled with rowers. There was task after task. One man was putting up the mast, another was laying in the oar blades. The roll of the white sail came into view. Rudders were lowered and yoked. As we worked, Greeks, Menelaus's men, who had been looking for their chance, approached the shore, clad in shipwrecked sailors' clothes. Quite handsome indeed, but rough on the eye. Menelaus, son of Atreus, seeing them ready, addressed them openly with treacherous pity. Miserable men, how and from what ship have you come? Some shattered Achaean vessel? Are you here to help bury the missing body of Atreus's son, which Tyndareus' daughter Helen honors here with an empty tomb? Crocodile tears were shed as they approached the ship with offerings for Menelaus's burial at sea. We had our suspicions, and we worried about the crowd of hangers-on, but we kept our peace, respecting your orders. By giving the foreigner the ship's command, you confused the whole affair. We got the rest of the offerings on with ease, the light ones, but the bull wouldn't go up the plank straight. Bellowing and rolling his eyes around, he arched his back and staring down his horns, impossible to grasp. Helen's husband called out, "You sackers of Troy, come on, lift this bull on your youthful shoulders as you do in Greece and toss him into the prow. Swords in hand, we'll sacrifice him to the dead man." At his command, they approached and grabbed the bull, and lifting him, put him on deck. And Menelaus, stroking his neck and brow of the unyoked beast, cajoled it aboard. Finally, when the ship had been loaded, Helen, climbing the ladder by graceful step, took her seat amid the rowers' benches, hard by Menelaus, the one they said was dead. The rest, equal number down port and starboard side, sat man by man, swords clutched secretly under their cloaks, and the curling waves were filled with shouts as we listened to the boatswain's cries. When we weren't too far from land, nor too near it either, the rudder's guard asked this: "Shall we sail on, foreigner, or is this far enough? The ship's yours to command." And Menelaus said, "Plenty far for me." Sword in hand, he moved to the prow. Standing over the bull to slaughter it, he made no mention of the dead man, but slew the beast and made a prayer. "Sea-dwelling briny Poseidon, you blessed daughters of Nereus, bring me and my wife from here to Nauplian shores, safe and unharmed." Streams of blood, auspicious for the foreigner, were shooting in the sea when someone said, "This voyage is a scam. Let's sail back. You command the starboard oars, you the rudder." But the son of Atreus, standing over the slain bull, shouted to his companions, "Why, picked men, the bloom of Hellas, do you delay to slaughter, murder, and hurl from ships to sea these barbarians?" The boatswain shouts out the opposite to your own sailors. "Come on, everybody take the boom as a spear. Somebody shatter the benches. Somebody take up an oar from its pin and bloody the heads of these foreign enemies." I'll leap up straight away, some clutching oars, some holding swords. Blood floods the ship as Helen cheers them on from the prow. "Where is the glory won at Troy? Show that to these barbarians." Some fell in the melee, some had success. You would have seen others lying dead. But armor-clad Menelaus, whenever he spotted a suffering ally, approached with sword in hand. And so we slipped from the ship, and the rowers' benches cleared. And he, making for the helmsman, commanded a course straight for Hellas. They lifted the mast, and favoring breezes blew. They've gone from this land. Escaping death, I descended by the anchor to the sea, from which some fishermen lifted me, almost completely worn out, and put me on your shores to report these things to you. Nothing is more useful to a man than thoughtful skepticism.
I never would have guessed, my lord, that Menelaus would slip by you or me. Yet here we are.
Oh, wretched me, taken down by womanly devices. My wedding is run off. If the ship could be captured by a chase, I would spare no pains to swiftly overtake the foreigners. But now I will exact vengeance on that sister who betrayed me, who did not tell me that she saw Menelaus in this house. Never will she deceive another man with her prophecies.
Hey, you! Where are you headed, Lord? What slaughter do you seek?
Wherever justice commands me, I go, so get out of my way.
I'll not let go of this cloak of yours. You're rushing into great troubles.
Oh, and will you, a slave, lord it over a tyrant?
Yes, since I'm the one who's thinking straight.
Will you... That's not how I see it, unless you let me...
I will not let you go.
Kill my sister, she's so wicked.
Oh, pious, you mean?
Who betrayed me?
Through noble treason, justice served.
By handing over my marriage to another man.
With a more proper claim.
Master of my things? Who?
The one who took her from her father's arm.
But fortune gave her to me.
And fate took her away.
You will not decide my affairs.
I will if I speak with more sense.
So I'm ruled over and I hold no power?
You rule to do what's pious, not to do what's not.
You seem desirous of death.
Then kill me, but you won't kill your sister, not if I'm around. To die defending lords is fame for high-born slaves.
Hold back the misplaced anger which carries you along, Theoclymenos, lord of this land. We, Zeus-born twins, the Dioscoroi, are calling on you. Leda once gave us birth along with Helen, who has fled from your house.
You are angry about a marriage, but it is fated not to be, and that your sister Theanoe, maiden offspring of the sea nymph, but she does you no wrong by honoring the just orders of her father and the gods. For up until this very moment, it was right that Helen stay in your house. But since the very foundations of Troy have been destroyed, and the name Troy is given up to the gods, no longer. She must remain in her existing marriage and go to her husband's house and live with him.
And you keep your dark blade away from your sister and consider how wisely she has acted here.
We would have saved Helen long before now, since Zeus did make us gods. But we can't overpower fate or the other gods who decided that these things had to be. That is what I proclaim to you.
To my sister Helen, I say sail with your husband and you will have a favorable wind. We, the sailors' saviors, your twin brothers, will ride our horses through the sea and escort you to your homeland.
But when you reach the turning point and end of life, you will be called a god, and you will share with us the gifts of friendship which humans offer us, for that is Zeus's will.
What is more, the place where Hermes, son of Maia, brought you first to safety when he carried you on that journey in the sky from Sparta, and stole you away that Paris might not marry you. I mean the island that stretches alongside Octe as a bulwark. From now on, that island shall be called Helen by mortals, since it received you in secret from your home.
And the God-given fate of wandering Menelaus is to live on the island of the blessed. For gods do not act hatefully to the noble born, though their labors are greater than the uncounted masses.
Sons of Leda and Zeus, I shall let go of our previous quarrels. For your sister's sake, let her go home, God's willing. And I would no longer slay my own sister. Know you both that you were born of the same blood as a very fine and most prudent sister. Rejoice for noblest Helen's intelligence, something that's lacking in many women.
Divinities take many shapes. The gods accomplish things surpassing hope. Expected things don't come to pass, and the god finds ways for unexpected things. And that's how this affair turned out.